Hello and good morning. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a rock solid show for you here today. This one is going to be very pointed at times. It is going to be fun. We're going to open up with a hypothetical Splinter Cell conversation because of a story that was broken by IGN on Wednesday regarding Xbox in talks to acquire several of Ubisoft's mainstream IP. What those IP are? Well, we're going to do a little speculation and, exactly how many of those IP, we're not sure, but Splinter Cell could definitely be one of them. And we're going to kind of do a little bit of a round robin, not only with the panel, but of course, you fine folks, the chat. And we're going to be asking the question, who should make the next Splinter Cell if that IP is acquired by Microsoft and becomes Xbox first party? Look, we do know, and we do have it on confirmed authority, that the reboot or the remake, of the original Splinter Cell is currently under development. And it's been there for quite a while. Now, again, during a Wednesday show, one of the running themes where a lot of the games media was talking about, and they used the terminology grossly mismanagement or grossly mismanaged. That is talking about Ubisoft as a whole, and this Splinter Cell has been in development for what I believe to be years. I don't understand what is taking so long, but we will get into that. But the second half of the show is the big topic, ladies and gentlemen, and that one is what you see on your screen currently, which I think I'm going to reverse order because obviously we have a video here that was done by the Xbox podcast, and the wizard is on your screen, Jason Ronald. And folks, one of the things that is exciting and also a bit annoying is Xbox has teamed up with Asus to deliver a new handheld, right? That story was broken by Jez Corden of Windows Central, and then he followed it up on Wednesday evening with some more information. Now, we have that information ready to go. We will be talking about that. But one of the things, and this is where the annoying part comes into the conversation, is the negativity that has been behind this. I've seen several of the games media, several people in the games community, which is not surprising, somehow trying to put doubt as to what this new console, this handheld is going to be, what it should be, what our expectations should be. And one of the things that Jez said in his follow-up article on Wednesday was that you would not be able to play your Xbox games on this handheld, meaning the games that you own that are not Play Anywhere and not in Xbox Game Pass, meaning that if I bought a game that wasn't or did not have the tagline Xbox Play Anywhere, meaning that once you bought it on PC, you can play it across your console, your TV, the cloud, and these new handhelds, you wouldn't be able to play it. They are looking and currently are adding more and more titles to this, and I would imagine at some point, every game is going to have the moniker of Play Anywhere, which makes sense. And Silent Hill F was announced yesterday. Not only is it getting a physical release, which is pretty freaking cool for all our physical gamers, but it is also Xbox Play Anywhere. So when that game does release, you can play it on your handheld, you can play it on your TV, you can play it in the cloud, you can play it on your console, and your save and progress all moves across. But before we get into this video that you see in front of you, I do want to bring in the panel. And of course, we'll start first with my brother from another, Crispy Bomb. Good morning, kind sir. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Got a new car. Beat that stupid bear, that damn mother trucker. Finally got him. Just great to be here and, feel like I'm back at home again. Hopefully I can do this more.
Well, listen, you're always welcome here. Congratulations on beating down that bear, because that bear was tough. I'm not going to front. It took you a little bit longer, but at least you did it. And now at least moving forward, before running to the next point on the map that's pointed out, just do a little searching, find more gear, find better weapons, get your powers in order.
Better because I think I'm a little farther than I should be with what I have. So yeah, I better start looking.
Well, listen, let's welcome in Corkenstein. Corkenstein, welcome back, brother. It's great to see you. How you feeling?
Yeah, man, doing great. Can't wait to talk about all this fun, the Splinter Cell and handheld news and everything. Like I said, I'm seeing your chat go off. Always a solid chat. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, it's our pleasure, brother. Great to have you here. And last and no way least, the best bald head in the business, Fuzzy Belvedere. Brother, I wasn't sure if you were going to be here, but welcome as always. I know that you and the missus are going to a horror con, so we definitely want to, let you know we're going to get out of here. I would say, folks, under 90 minutes, because again, it's Friday. We want to get everyone to, out and doing their thing before the weekend. But how are you feeling, Fuzzy? Welcome back.
Well, I'm great. I've been off social media for a good bit, but man, what a time to pick to be off social media when all this breaking news. But man, glad to be here with you guys. Yeah, we're going to Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey later on tonight.
Nice.
I'll be there this weekend, but man, Xbox making some moves, and glad to be here to talk about it. So glad to be here with you guys. Let's do this.
All right. Well, listen, folks, let's get right into topic number one. What you see on your screen is the Xbox podcast, where Jason Ronald, known AKA the Wizard, and he indeed is a wizard, a gentleman of a man to speak to, very mild-mannered, very approachable, very welcoming. I got a chance to hang out with him during the last June event, and we had some conversation that, of course, well, that's just between us. Got some information on some things, and very exciting times for Xbox, and this is one of them. Now, as we saw, thanks to Jez Corden and his incredible reporting, he broke a story that was an exclusive to, of course, WindowsCentral.com, where he discussed this collaboration between the creators of the ROG Ally and the ROG Ally X, Asus. They make handhelds, and of course, the ROG Ally, when it came out, good piece of tech, but a little rough around the edges. The much better ROG Ally X released, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken. I did not upgrade. Well, as we have been hearing about these rumors of an Xbox handheld, the one thing that this console is not is the Xbox main handheld, meaning that this was not made by Microsoft. That console has now been officially, thanks to Jez Corden and the first story that he did earlier this week, been moved into 2027, along with the mythical box, the new next generation hardware, both coming in 2027. Now, there was some thought, there was a lot of hypothetical and some theories as to why we all thought that it was coming in 2026. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's the 25th anniversary of the platform, the 25th anniversary of Halo Combat Evolved, the 20th anniversary of Gears of War. There is going to be a lot of celebrating. So a console release sounded, pretty much like a storyboard or a storybook, if you will, and we all would have been here for it. But apparently that, in fact, is not happening. Both those new consoles will be coming in 2027, leaving 2026 to be all about the games. And that's really what it's about. But what we did learn from the both articles, again, from Jez Corden of Windows Central, is that Microsoft is doubling down on bringing more OEM devices that are Xbox branded to the market, meaning that we already know that Asus has one dropping this year. When? We don't know. Potentially holiday. When are we going to see this thing? Well, I think, Crispy, that we're going to see this thing next week. Now, that's hypothetical. I do not have a source that tells me, boom, look forward to day whatever. But it does make sense. Now, if it drops, if they show it off next week of what this thing looks like, there's going to be great coverage, and we're going to cover it right here on Double Barrel Gaming. I would imagine that we could get an official reveal during the June event, which is only a couple of months away. That makes sense. We will see what happens. GDC starts on Monday, goes all the way through Friday. We'll see what happens, what they show. I'm expecting it there. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but if I was a betting kind of a guy, and I'm really not, that is where you're going to show off this thing. Why I want to take 2 minutes and 55 seconds to show you the video that's on your screen right now before we bring in some gameplay behind it is some of the negativity that's come the way of some people in social media, which is not surprising, but where it is surprising, some games media. Now, they're not outright calling this thing a paperweight or why do we want this in our lives? But a lot of people are downplaying how important this is to the industry. Yes, it is not the official Xbox handheld, but it is officially Xbox branded, meaning that it does have, and this has been confirmed by Jez Corden, a unmistakably Xbox look and feel. It also has, ladies and gentlemen, the guide button that is on your controller. This is an Xbox, folks, and I'm not saying that to be, be funny, facetious, or add puns to make me look cool, but this is ultimately an Xbox. Now, some of the handhelds that you currently have, they work with Xbox games, but they don't work like an Xbox, and that's why I don't use my ROG Ally, because it is not that I don't know how to use it. I want the simplicity of pressing a button and powering on my console, going to my dash, and playing a game. Why this is important is because some people in the press are poo-pooing that you don't and cannot, as we know so far, play all of your own Xbox games. What you can play are games that have the tagline Xbox Play Anywhere, which we now know thanks to PR, and this is kudos to them for jumping in front of this, 1,000+ games. You can also play every game that is an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate via the cloud. Now, is the cloud the best place to play? Not really, but it has been fixed by leaps and bounds. So, folks, before we get the chat involved, before we get the panel involved, please just take a listen. It's 2 minutes and 55 seconds. This was posted by the Wolf of Darkness, so shout out to him for putting out this clip, and please just take a listen.
When you really think about like modern gamers, people that are used to Spotify or Netflix and whatnot, it's this notion of I want my library of games to come along with me wherever I go. And so when we launched it, this was really that first recognition of player behaviors are changing. And so when you buy the game on, say, your console or your PC, the game and the DLC is accessible to you on your console, on your PC, on gaming handhelds where it's supported. And even as we're starting to expand more and more into the cloud, I can now stream that game from anywhere. Not only is it about being able to play the game across multiple screens, it's really about ensuring that my progress moves forward with me. There's nothing more frustrating than maybe you start a game on your console and then you go launch the game on a PC and it's like, welcome, new player. And it's like, wait, I already have like a level 40 character, or I've already gone through multiple levels, or I'm like hours deep into the lore. Like, I want my game progress to move across screens with me.
Yeah.
So whether that's my game saves, whether that's leaderboards, that's achievements, it's really about making sure that the library moves with me anywhere that I want to go. And not only is it good for players, it's also good for developers as well. Because when we look at data for titles that are Xbox Play Anywhere enabled, these titles get 20% more gameplay because it's more flexible, because I can play on the go.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, I'm playing Ninja Gaiden 2. I started that on my handheld when I was on a business trip. I got as far as I could, and then I got home, and then I was able to just pick up and resume exactly from where I was on my console. And it just really felt great to me. So we're excited to announce that we have more than 1,000 Xbox Play Anywhere games as of today. And there's many, many more coming. Yeah, and I think about, like, for example, my son, he loves the Yakuza series.
Oh, nice.
So, like,
nice.
the fact that he can play in his room, he can play in the console in the living room. If he's on the go and I let him borrow one of my handhelds, he's able to bring that along with him. So it's just really about, making sure that for those of us who really enjoy gaming as our primary form of entertainment, just making sure that that's always available at my fingertips wherever I may be.
I do love that Xbox Play Anywhere is a core part of the vision of the future of Xbox. Like when you as an employee believe in something wholeheartedly, to march to that tenet and beat of that drum is a lot easier. And it is just like maybe one of my favorite features we're working on just in general in terms of like access. You just said 1,000 titles, over 1,000. We got some new ones in the pipe coming, right? Like what's coming up next that's going to be in there? I think we have South of Midnight, for example, Doom coming. And I think Towerborn as well.
Exactly. And we're working with the best developers all across the world. And, we're just seeing a lot of support and momentum behind Xbox Play Anywhere. So even beyond the ones that you mentioned, many more Xbox Play Anywhere titles are being added to the catalog every single month.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the screen sharing here, bring us up. I'll add some gameplay momentarily. But Crispy Bomb, I want to go right to you on this because I think this 2-minute and 55-second clip, once again, thanks to the Wolf of Darkness on Twitter. I've been following him for a while. Great community member. I want to thank him again for putting this clip because it's perfect. It runs right into the conversation we're about to have. I think what this does, this 3-minute clip, it does answer a lot of questions. I think it does debunk a lot of the quote-unquote fake concern that certain outlets and gamers within the games community have for Xbox, which is the most interesting thing here is Xbox is dying. Xbox has no games because, of course, they're available everywhere. But Xbox is somehow in trouble. And the strangest thing is that the most quiet of them all is PlayStation, the market leader. When you hear what's happening, when you take a look at the vision of what Xbox is doing, allowing you as the consumer to take full control of your entire library. Now, they're not there yet, and everything is work in progress. But to suggest that they're in trouble, to suggest that this isn't exciting, when they already have 1,000+ games, they're adding more and more games to play anywhere. Some of them are the biggest games of the year, i.e. Doom being one of them. This is exciting. And on top of that, you are getting an Xbox branded handheld. Now, interestingly enough, to start this year, Jason Ronald also confirmed that the UI to rule them all that's currently being developed directly at Xbox and at Microsoft will be available this year. Now, again, folks, this is a grain of salt. This is my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But does it make sense that at GDC, they're going to show off this Xbox-branded OEM handheld in partnership with, of course, ASUS, makers of the ROG Ally X, and having over 1,000 games available to be played on this device? I'm thinking, and again, I'm spitballing here, folks, that they're going to show off what this UI to rule them all looks and works like, because it's not shadow dropping. It's releasing later this year. So I'm sure we're going to see a working session of it. And of course, when the thing launches, when you and I buy it and we put it into our hands, we'll be able to press the power button and it's going to then look and act like an Xbox. Now, this is a program that they're going to continue to develop. It's going to continue to change, rapidly changing at times. But this is what we've all wanted. This is what I've wanted. Let's get your thoughts on the video and, more importantly, the handheld itself.
All right. Well, the video, I mean, how can anyone not like what he just said? Like, let's say you're playing an RPG and you're like, a 40 level or something like that. Do you want to go and restart the game because it's the same game you purchased? You didn't have to buy it again, but you have to restart it because it's on a different device? That's pretty asinine. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And especially with the technology we have right now, there's no reason for it. And I think that's where, we're going to have a divide in a certain subset of a group that, thinks that that's okay. I don't think it's okay. I mean, I can watch Netflix on my phone. I can watch Netflix on my TV. You know what I mean? Like different devices. One's Apple, one's Samsung. Like, are we that tribalistic at this point? Like, can we get beyond the fact that, there are so many, UI in general, like, hey, like I use Prime. I use Prime on my phone. I use Prime on my TV. I could watch the videos. I could listen to music. I could do whatever I want. It's just integration. And this is the technology that we're in. And he's basically saying that like it is more acceptable. It's kind of like quick resume. Like it's more acceptable to be able to play the game from where I ended on one device on another. It's totally logical. It makes sense. Okay, we should be here at this point. And it just so happens that only one company is really pushing this, and that's Xbox. For the developers, he said it. It's going to make it easier because, their goal is play anywhere. So they have to, develop for multiple devices, which means possibly more sales also because they're doing it for Xbox. It's a very simple thought process that I think we're at the point where we have to acknowledge it. I mean, and then, the device itself, they have partnered with all kinds of devices through Windows. Yep. Why wouldn't they do the same with Xbox? Okay. And, the people that love Xbox's UI, like myself, like you, Boom, the way it's used, the way they change it minutely, they haven't jumped leaps to be able to say, okay, we're going to develop something that is going to be able to be used eventually across multiple devices, whether they are branded with Xbox or not. And I think that's what this is going to be. It is going to be this little, stepping stone to a much bigger hill of them developing their own handheld without trying to alienate or take away from the people that have helped them. And I feel like this is a partnership, and partnerships are give and take. And Microsoft might be taking some of the things that they're learning by working with Asus, whatever you want to call it, Boom. Asus is the way I call it.
Asus,
but
that's probably what it is. I say Asus like it's Jesus. Oh, sorry, folks. It's Asus. It is.
But that's where, like I look at it and I say, you have to have those partnerships. Like HP, Dell, like all these companies that have worked with Microsoft for decades. You know what I'm saying? Like, could they not bring out something that is like, very good and also worthy of like a Game Pass or something like that? Like I truly believe like the integration is going to really involve Game Pass Ultimate, and I think that's important because I want to be able to boot up the game. I don't have to play on Steam. It's an option. You understand what I'm saying? Like I want Xbox to be first. Like if I'm a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, I want that device. It'd be very simplistic and easy to use my Game Pass subscription. And I think that's where they need to go. They need to realize that, yes, like you don't have like an unsurmountable amount of subs right now, but that doesn't mean you can't. And you need to look at that device and say, it's just another access to my ultimate subscription, which would make me purchase it, and said company like Asus would be like, oh, thank you for the purchase. You know what I'm saying? Like we're consumers here. Like we consume media, we consume, food. We love what we love, and to have those options, I think, is the most important thing. And I think they're not too far ahead like we've seen before. I think they're hitting right at that wall of, okay, we're going to have pushback, but is this pushback really relevant when it comes down to the brass tacks. And I think there's really no pushback in my eyes as being the gamer for as long as I have been. And I think it's logical. And one other point is that the one that would block the Play Anywhere is probably a Sony or Nintendo. So, they block something that is not, not to the way they think. Does that mean that they're wrong or right? No. But does that mean Microsoft's wrong or right? No. It's up to you as a consumer to support what you support. And I think that's the most important thing. Be a consumer. Don't be a shill. Don't be somebody that's like, oh, like I have to have this or this. Like, be open-minded a little more, because I see a lot of people out there like just throwing themselves over the hill and just like, oh, I'm gonna fall, and if I die, I die. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, I have so many receipts on some of these people that are talking about the Forza thing. Like, are you serious? Like, y'all were like, oh, Helldivers 2 or this or that on PC. You were completely like, yeah, like you got to get your PSN sign in. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Get your head right. Like, what are we talking about now? All of a sudden, Microsoft requiring a sign in for Forza, that's a problem. Like, come on now. Like, you don't have a Microsoft account. Like, I don't know a lot of people that don't. So I'm just saying, it's weird.
Yeah, that's the weird energy. But listen, we got a special guest here who's going to be at GDC, if I believe. Paris Lilly, what's going on, dude? Long time, no time. How you feeling?
No, I'm good. Appreciate you inviting me to come up and
well,
talk. I always
very
look in your chat. Yeah,
well, listen, it's great to have you here. And the reason why I'm happy you're here is I brought you up in a podcast. I think it was Wednesday evening with Kay. Now, you had said something a couple of months ago, and you get privy to a lot of things that you don't talk about because you're under NDA. Makes sense. But you had said something, and I believe it was not just you. I believe it was Tom Warren that also said that it's going to make Xbox Play Anywhere is going to make sense soon enough, right? You had said that on a tweet. I think, again, this is me just spitballing here. I think now it's starting to take picture of what you meant, right? Again, this is not the Xbox handheld that is, and it's no longer rumored. Jez Corden broke the story. So it's out there. He wrote 2 stories on it, which of course will be linked in the show notes, so you could go read both of them and support Jez Corden. But Paris, I'm interested to get your thoughts and theories on what Xbox is doing, because they are literally changing the game. No puns here, but I think what they're doing is great for consumers, and I think that there are some people that don't see over the hill and the big picture of being able to buy a game and literally play it anywhere you have a screen in front of you. That is consumerism at its best.
Yeah, I mean, and to be clear, I had no inside knowledge. It was more of me just kind of looking at the direction, to your point, looking past the hill, right, of where this is all headed. And it was really about Play Anywhere. And the point of them providing you buy the game once, and then you're able to play it on multiple devices. And then you add in the fact, a lot of stuff that Phil Spencer's talked about. You look at what Jason Ronald had talked about at CES, and obviously just talked about on the Xbox podcast. And obviously now that we know that this partnered Asus handheld is coming, and we know that Microsoft is going to make their own handheld in 2027 as a part of next gen. Yeah, it makes sense. Sure. They are going multi-platform. This is the new reality that we all need to accept at this point. But and this is why I asked Phil what I did when we got a chance to talk to him. Why am I buying an Xbox then? And his point is they're going to make hardware that there's going to be incentives in that hardware that you're going to want to have it, right? So I think it's the handheld personally. That's me. I think when I think next gen, and I think what would be the hardware that I know I would get, it would be that Xbox handheld that is truly an Xbox, not a PC handheld, but truly an Xbox. I can play my entire digital library on that thing, take it wherever I want to go. But then I can also take that same digital code that I have, because we're going to an all digital future too, if I want a console that sits under my television, I can play it there as well. I can cloud stream it, all these things. This is the Play Anywhere initiative. You talk about GDC. They're going to talk about that a lot more this coming week at GDC. I'm kind of sort of at GDC. I'm in San Francisco with my son for some other stuff, but
Awesome.
I'll be popping in and out of a few different things. But this is what Jason Ronald was talking about in that podcast. This is what I'm assuming they're going to talk a lot more about the rest of this year is they have to refine that UI on handheld. They have to, because my number one complaint with these PC handhelds, because I have a Rogue Ally and all that is, I'd rather play on my Steam Deck because I press the button once and I can play the games. It has to be that simple. Sure, there can be a desktop mode and you can install Steam and everything else that they're talking about. But when I press the button, I am in the Xbox UI. I'm in the Xbox experience. I have access to my Xbox games and I can play them. That's where they have to get to. And I've been lucky enough that like last year, I went to a few different events that Microsoft had in LA where they were kind of starting to prototype some of that stuff. Some of it is available now, some of it isn't, but which I'm sure as we go into this year, we're going to see a lot more of that. But it's refining that experience on Windows on a handheld that can emulate the Xbox. Jason Ronald already talked about it at CES.
Yep.
They want to essentially merge the Xbox experience with the Windows experience. What does that look like? Is that user friendly? Is it simple enough that I press the button and I'm in the UI and I'm playing the games? I would assume they are going to replicate that experience across all open devices. And I say open because clearly you're not going to be able to do that on a PlayStation or a Nintendo, but you'll be able to do it on a PC, these various handhelds, obviously the cloud experience, stuff like that. And clearly anything that Microsoft makes themselves. The way I look at it at Play Anywhere is this open devices. You're going to get the Xbox UI there. You're going to have the full, I buy the game once, I can play it across these devices, right? On PlayStation, Nintendo, Steam, we're obviously already seeing, and we'll see what PlayStation, Nintendo allows. You probably get the advantage of cloud saves, of I can take my progression. So say I bought the game on PlayStation, and I'm just pulling this out of my butt. I bought Fable on PlayStation. I can then take my Fable progress, cloud save it over to my Xbox handheld or over to the PC or whatever, and vice versa. We obviously already see that today with Steam. Indiana Jones does it. Avowed does it. This is what I'm assuming they want to be able to do across all devices. But clearly Nintendo and PlayStation could say no to that if they so choose. Why would they? I don't know, because you've obviously already bought the game there. What does it matter? We have examples with CD Projekt Red with The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk, where you can cross save, across devices. Ubisoft Games does it as well. So I'd imagine Xbox is going to be able to do that moving forward with their games, but clearly we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, listen, that is to me a future that I want to be hanging out in. You buy a game anywhere, you play it anywhere, and that includes not just the game, your saves. And you heard Jason Ronald in the interview. There's nothing worse than having 40 hours into a game and then you go to start somewhere else and it's like, hey, he said it, hi, new player, and you're like, whoa, hold on just a second. What about my 40 hours? And they, sorry, you got to start over. No, I'm not playing here. That is the ultimate goal. And I think that, yes, we've seen Microsoft get a lot of arrows from a lot of people in the press, a lot of people in the games community who are not looking over the hill, who are not looking at the bigger picture here. I don't understand as a consumer, ladies and gentlemen, how you don't want more for the money you've already spent.
Let's be real about something here.
Yeah.
The average person is completely fine with all of this.
Yes.
You only hear the noise from social media, from the very, the small but loud voices that are out there, that all of a sudden this is the worst thing in the world. It's not. I always use my neighbor as the example. My neighbor buys 3 games every year. That's all he cares about. He doesn't probably even know what Game Pass is, right? He doesn't know about all this stuff. He just buys his one system, his Madden, his NBA, and his Call of Duty, and that's it. That's it. And that's how a lot of people are. It's only the people that are super plugged in that you see online trying to spin this into some kind of negative, because I do believe Phil Spencer. I do believe Craig Duncan. I've 100% talked to a lot of devs that they want their games everywhere because they want everybody to play what they've created. Sure, the games need to be quality. No one is denying that. Obviously, if you only focus on one platform, that gives you an advantage, but that's not the reality of the world that we are in. The reality of the world that we're in is if you limit your game to one platform, number one, you're limiting the amount of money you can make. This is a business. We always have to realize that. And not everyone gets to play your game. There is not a dev that I have talked to that has said, no, I don't want everyone to play my game. And clearly every dev wants to make the best game they possibly can. That's not even a part of the discussion, but they want everyone to play their game. So sure, almost $100 billion investment in gaming has spurred this along. No one's dumb. We obviously understand that. But the end result of games being in more places and more easily accessible, trust me when I tell you, my kids, they could care less if it's Xbox, PlayStation, ColecoVision, whatever. They don't care. They just want to play the game. What's the easiest way I can get to the game so I can play it? That's all they care about.
Yeah. And a lot of these younger generations, where did they start? On tablets, on phones.
Yeah.
Right? That's how they play their games. Now, granted, I don't know a 13 or 14-year-old kid that's not going to want to play in front of a 70-inch screen because, of course, that was my dream as a kid, and my 70-inch screen was a 13-inch TV that I was lucky to have in my freaking room. Are you freaking kidding me?
Exactly.
Like, these kids are so
black and white too, by the way.
Yes,
wasn't even color.
Yeah. Yes. You know what's funny? I remember having to play with the colors to get the ghosts to be colors on the Atari 2600, and I wound up getting a beating for that. Because I messed up my dad's Yankee game and I wound up getting a beating for that. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about, old timers. So again, if you're under 30, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're over 30, you understand that you wanted those ghosts to have color like the arcades, and you did everything in your power to get it done. Listen, Paris, great to have you here, brother. Thank you so much for popping in. Again, I cannot wait. First of all, let me congratulate you and Danny. My God, the work that you guys have been doing and the interviews that you guys have been getting. You know, Danny put out a tweet. Actually, I think it was even a video, kind of like talking to the community and explaining how difficult these things are to get done, how difficult it is to get a Phil Spencer on and what you have to do, how long in advance you have to actually get this done. So congratulations to you guys, because again, you're doing great work with Kind of Funny. You're doing great work on your own channel, but you and Danny are like the dynamic duo, bro. You guys continue to just deliver time and time again, and one big interview after another. So just, I mean, I congratulate you both on socials, but now that you're here, I felt like I had to do it in person.
No, I appreciate that. And first and foremost, I give all the credit to Danny Pena because
he works
I'm not
his ass
doing
off,
this.
that dude.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, I'm not doing this if it wasn't for him. He's the one that inspired me all those years ago to get into this, and we went from partnership to it's literally family at this point. But the reason I say that is, and again, thank you on the interview stuff, but like the Peter Moore thing, I'll use that as a great example. It's about relationships. It's about you treat people the way that you want to be treated. You never know someone that you meet today where they're going to be at tomorrow, right? And Danny's known Peter since like 05. I've known him since like 07, right? It's that long. So when you pick up the phone and go, hey, we'd love to have you on for an interview. Yes. You know what I mean? It's because we know each other, that relationship is established. There's a trust factor there. There's a respect factor there, the whole thing. And that's what I try to explain to a lot of creators. And you see a lot of this noise online about treat people respectfully when it comes to this. I'll even bring the Phil Spencer thing into this. We started working on that, God, probably in October of last year. And you saw it wasn't until January that we actually got it done because of the scheduling, all these things. So it takes a long time to get to that point. But even in that regard, you respect the person that you're talking to. You respect the title that you're talking to. You respect that they're not going to announce something until they're ready to announce it, right? You got to be smart about it as far as when you do interviews and things like that. But I think a lot of people that want you to just yell and scream at the person that you're talking to, guess what? They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to talk to you, and you're never going to get an opportunity like that again. when you do that, because this industry is a lot smaller than you think, and people talk. So if you want to be able to talk to these executives, talk to these devs, and have these long form sit down interviews with people, they pay attention to who you talk to. Clearly, people paid attention to us talking to Phil Spencer. The amount of DMs and stuff that we got just off the Peter Moore thing from people around the industry, because Peter is that respected, throughout the years, that they're like, oh man, that was a great conversation that you had with him. Like, man, he's being really insightful, kind of talking about the legacy of the 360 and the console wars and stuff like that. So I'm lucky that I had someone like Danny to mentor me early on. And I think, like I said, I'm old. When I see this current generation of creators out there, it's like with social media, and I'm ranting, and I'm sorry, but
this is a conversational podcast. Go crazy, it's fine.
when I see the current state of social media, and I see how certain YouTube channels are and stuff like that, I honestly shake my head with a lot of it, because it's like you wonder why you're not growing. It's because of how you conduct yourself online. And that goes a very long way, because like I said, you will be surprised who pays attention to what you say and what you do. Like, boom, I'll give you an example. I see your show clipped all the time.
Yeah, I know.
All the time. And
it's unreal. But
here's my point on that. Here's my point on that. It means you're doing something right, because what you say matters.
My brother says.
Because what you say matters. People aren't clipping you and talking about you unless the stuff that you say matters. Because why would it? So, I'm just saying this as an example. Take it as a badge of honor. The people that do that, take it as a badge of honor, because clearly what you're saying is affecting them in some way.
Yeah, I listen. You know what? I'm gonna be 55, right? Like I've done it all in my life so far. I'm very proud of what we've done in this channel. We've done it with respect. We've done it with honor and integrity. When people clip me and people said, "Oh, boom, they're talking about you," I'm like, you know what? Even though, and some of the things they say are just heinous, but I'm like, it's engagement. And I say this all the time. And I'm not, again, we don't do the names thing here, folks, because it's just, I'm not about that smoke, right? I'm here to have fun. I'm here to talk about gaming. I'm here to celebrate hanging out with you guys and gals. When someone clips me, that means that they gave me a view. That means that they've literally combed through a 90-minute show to get this one particular clip. I say this. Thank you for the view. Thank you for the share, because now what you've done is you've put me out into the ether. People like, who is this BoomStick guy? Is he a real asshole or not? And they go and they watch and like, wait a second, that guy actually is pretty knowledgeable. He quotes, he uses, when I use someone's story, I include it into the show notes. I give them full credit. I name their name a couple of times. He's not such a bad guy. So I actually had a few people say, hey, someone clipped you and they said some bad things about you, but I see you're a good content creator. I just subbed. I'm like, whoa, there you go. Thank you so much. So yeah, I don't worry so much about that smoke. I find it to be silly. Listen, Paris, I know that you're a busy man and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm retired, folks, and I do not have the time producing 5 shows and then the videos after the show ends with the artwork and cleaning the house and maintaining myself. I'm working out 4 days a week, and I feel freaking awesome and great about it. I don't have time for this craziness. That's why I can't even be on Blue Sky or any of the other socials, because I can barely handle freaking Twitter. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But Paris, brother, it's great to have you here. I don't know how long you got. I asked you to come on for a couple of minutes. If you got to go, don't even sweat it. But we super appreciate the work that you do in this community. You keep being you. And of course, we'll all be supporting you and Danny and anything that you guys do. It's just great work that you're doing.
No, I appreciate it. I actually have a little bit of time. I don't know if there was another topic or something you wanted to bring up, but
no, actually, this is the main topic. I mean, again, by all means, pop in and if someone says something you want to just kind of add some context to. But Korkenstein, I want to go to you next, brother, because obviously you're a busy man as well, and you and I have had conversations about Xbox Play Anywhere. We've had about Xbox portables, Xbox handhelds. What Xbox is doing is taking the lead on making gaming the best place to play, but the best place for consumers to play. I think that really does get lost in the conversation. Like, if what they're trying to do works out and every game that they release moving forward is a quote unquote play anywhere game, that means that they've worked out the details with the publishers and the developers, both big and small, and they have games that are releasing, like, for instance, Silent Hill F. Who, first of all, congratulations and shout out to Konami for realizing that Xbox gamers will actually buy a new Silent Hill. I'm going to pre-order it the minute it's available. And you know something even better? There's a physical version of it, which is awesome. But the point of that is that it's play anywhere. You'll be able to play this game, buy it once, play it any way you want. I think that's the move moving forward. I want to get your thoughts on the strides that Xbox is taking, and more specifically, what's going on with the actual handheld.
Yeah, so this is something that I'm really glad Xbox has really dove into with the Play Anywhere. Xbox Era made a great article with a spreadsheet. They spent, a lot of time with some of the community members in their Discord back in November. They talked about it, like how Play Anywhere is massive. I think one of the guys that worked on it said now it's more close to like 1,300 titles. Some of it's shovelware, things like that. But I'm really glad, because I think that right there is one of the most consumer friendly and industry friendly practices. A lot of people think it's it's bad. Oh, they're developers aren't going to make the money, they're not going to make sales selling at two places at once, but a lot of times they won't anyways. And you even heard Jason say 20%. That's a large number. That's a massive number of people that are diving into these games and playing more on different platforms. It's something I'm really glad, and even Paris talked about it. I've been saying this for years now as a former developer myself. Developers, they want people to see this. I use the baby analogy. You remember? I use it all the time. They're basically spending all this time creating this art, this masterpiece, this something that means so much. They're away from their friends and family, 16, sometimes 24 hours a day. I remember I was working on projects, Lord of the Rings, the Battle for Middle Earth. I worked on that title for years. Sometimes I was at the studio for 36 hours straight. I'd go take a little nap on the couch sometimes on my different lunches and breakfasts and dinner, when I needed it. A lot of, a good thing they used to actually have a Coke machine that sold sodas for like 25 cents. And we were all there, just loading up, trying to stay awake. But yeah, that's the kind of thing, they're making this, and it's like a baby. They want to show it to everybody. Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this baby. Look how great this baby looks. This is amazing baby. Hold my baby. They want people to play this thing that they've spent this long time developing, and it's great. And Play Anywhere allows people to do that, allows people on multiple platforms to step up and play this amazing title that these people work their blood, sweat, and tears on for years. So yeah, it's a great move by Xbox. I really wish again, Xbox Era just made a great op-ed piece today about from John Clark.
Yep.
Sicca Mechanico. Go read it. It kind of dives into the Xbox Everywhere strategy, the pros, the cons, the vision, things like that. It's an amazing article. So yeah, go give that a listen or a read. But yeah, I think Play Anywhere is great. It's something that I've used numerous times. Like he was saying, Jason was saying, he was playing on one of his handhelds and, saved it and then went into his console and picked it up from right there where he left off. I really hope more and more. I think Sega is one of the bigger ones. I know Sega, they're one of the first to really adopt it as one of the major platform holders. I think Square Enix now is diving into it. I think they just we'll see with Tokyo Game Show with what they add to that system. It's gonna be there's a lot coming, guys, and like I said, if Xbox is hyping up the Play Anywhere now, there's probably a lot of stuff in the works that's going to be coming up for Play Anywhere. The handheld being part of it is going to be one of the biggest things. But I mean, yeah, the new console. I mean, we'll see, especially with what they were talking about, the Windows Store and Xbox Store kind of merging thing. It's an exciting time for as a consumer in gaming. I know you're going to read, like you said, Paris mentioned it, and I've mentioned it before. What you're hearing on social media is the vocal minority, the hardcore gamers like us. And I'm going to be straight out honest, we're out of tune with what the casual gamer does. Paris's neighbor, like I said, 3 games: Madden, NBA, Call of Duty. You could add Fortnite for some people, Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, whatever you want to name it. That's what they do. They see Chun-Li, from Street Fighter. They're like, hey, that's the chick from Fortnite. It's kind of that's what it is. They don't know. They don't know about, some of these things. And, we are very out of tune with what the casual gamer wants, but developers aren't. That's their biggest consumer base. This is why 60 frames per second isn't as big as it should be on console, because most people don't care. As long as they can jump online, play with their friends, and have fun, that's all they care about right now. When the casual audience kind of starts pushing and caring more about 60 frames per second, you'll see it being a bigger push in the industry. But yeah, that's all it is. I think it's a awesome time in the industry. I'm so excited for Xbox moving forward. They really hit their stride, and I think this is kind of the stuff that they were really working on in 2020 before kind of COVID kind of set a lot of stuff back, not only for them but for the industry as a whole. And I think we're finally seeing everything kind of take shape. So it's going to be an exciting time as a gamer, just in period, whether you're a PlayStation, Nintendo. We got the Switch 2 coming out. There's just so much in the industry right now that we should be happy about and thankful for, because it really is a great time in gaming.
I absolutely agree. Look, again, the rumored price, thanks to Jez Gordon's article, is $499 to $599. Supposedly, there are 2 different models. What the difference in those models are is unknown at this time. He's going to continue to dig, and obviously, when Jez does break that story, we will, of course, help promote it and use it as a conversation piece for one of the live streams for sure. Fuzzy, I want to bring you in, brother, but before we get to you, I got to catch up on super chats. And you know what? Your boy stole Will the Broke Boy Lewis's, point. Yes, I did it. No, well, of course, I'm kidding. First of all, he has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership. And by the way, he killed it. He was on Thursday's show, and his first time, pause. He did good work. He did some good work there. We're definitely going to have Will come back and join us. But thank you so much for the gifted membership. But he also drops a very generous $5 super chat. And of course, your boy stole his point. He says, I noticed the new Silent Hill F trailer. It is not a timed PlayStation exclusive like we all originally thought. That trailer was freaky, and I can't wait. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I was actually, already forethought me saying this. I didn't watch anything with it because I'm like, yeah, it's going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive. I'll get it on sale like I did Silent Hill 2 and whatever. And then I see everyone saying, oh, it's on Xbox. I'm like, oh, I should have watched this thing live. But yeah, it's come not only, again, Silent Hill F, which is, whatever that means, but it looks like J-horror, which I'm a huge fan of. And it is not only releasing on Xbox, but they're going to have a physical version for both the PS5 and the Xbox version. So, oh my God, I would have never guessed. But shout out to Konami for getting that done. So, of course, now the question remains, will Xbox gamers be able to play the Silent Hill 2 remake? I have it for the PS5, and sadly, it's in the backlog. I bought it, and I want to play because it's one of my favorite in the series. Just not enough time. I will rebuy it. Hypothetically, it does come to Xbox. I was looking on Reddit. I think it said something around October 25th of this year is when the 1-year exclusivity is supposedly up. We'll see. That was a game that was made by Bloober Team. It sold a lot of copies on PlayStation 5. A lot of people bought it, which is great. I was one of them. I would buy it again on Xbox, and I would probably wind up playing it on Xbox, and it'll just sit there on the shelf like many of my PlayStation games. It's not because I don't like it; it's just I don't have the time. But we also have Bounty, who has been a channel member. Check this out, folks: 45 months. I mean, that's just ridiculous, brother. We cannot thank you enough for the outstanding support. He says, this is going to be my first handheld because I don't play games on the go. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have, the Switch I always play, it's in a small dock. Mrs. Boom plays on the TV. I play it docked and handheld mode with the controller. I do have the PlayStation Portal. I use it exclusively to play Vampire Survivor when Mrs. Boom and I are just watching our, either our J horror or our, K dramas. That's like our big thing. So I'll catch up with that. And I'm making my way again. This is where cross save and progression would really be awesome because I've done pretty much everything on Xbox, and I had to start over on the PlayStation. And again, it's Vampire Survivors. Who doesn't want to play that game? But he also follows the 45 months of generosity by gifting 5 double barrel gaming memberships. Brother, that is very generous of you. Thank you so much for the support and that extra bonus. We definitely appreciate that. We have 30 Below drops a very generous $10 super chat. And 30 Below goes on to say, my 12-year-old, wow, check this out. I love this, has a 55-inch TV in his room with a PS5, a PS4, a Switch hooked up. Still because of him, Roblox is my most played game on Xbox last year. I believe it. But you see, folks, again, I'm not hating on the youth of today because we give everything to Tyler. Now, he earns it. When he messes up, he gets nothing. And he knows like that. Let me tell you something. This is a funny story. You want to talk about old school stuff? I'm going to just pause the program for a second. I love my mom, but I'm going to tell you this right now. She is and was the most devious MF when it came to punishment. First of all, she was quick with the chancleta, which she threw across the room, and she always found its mark. Anyone who's Hispanic knows exactly what I'm talking about. And if it wasn't her, it was grandma, my abuela, that was even faster, right?
It's like Captain America with the shield.
Girl, I'm going to tell you this right now. They were unstoppable, unmatchable. But see, let me tell you a funny story. Like when I say I had a 13-inch TV in the room, we were lucky, man. Like we were like, everyone came over to our house because oh my God, they got TV in the room. A lot of people didn't have it back in the days. Let me tell you what my mother would do when we messed up. When we would fail at school or cause trouble out, and back in the days, everybody called everybody. Craig's doing this. You got home and you got slapped. I'm like, what am I getting slapped for? Oh yeah, Mrs. Such and such called and said that you were. And like, God damn it, they saw us playing in the garage. We weren't supposed to be there. Fine, whatever. This is what she would do. She would send us off to school. Have a good day, guys. Okay, we come back, and it was like our room was burglarized. There'd be nothing in the room. But let me tell you something. This is where she poured salt on the wound. She would take the TV. She would take the console, right? Whether it be the ColecoVision or the Atari 2600 or both. And you know what she would do? To spite us, to make us be like, toma, 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 right? She would leave the controller and the cartridges right there on the dresser. Here you go, toma. That's what you get. Go play with your joystick. Pause. That's what she would do. So these kids these days, no offense to you kids, you're so lucky because you have 55-inch TVs when I had a black and white 13-inch. Okay, it's fine. It is what it is. That's the end of my rant. But yeah, my mom was devious and grandma was worse. But shout out to you, 30 Below. Thank you so much for the generosity. We have here Aaron drops a very generous £5 super chat. And Aaron goes on to say, I wonder if the official Xbox handheld will be a cloud-based or pure hardware. So, again, this is just rumors, folks. It is going to be hardware. That is the running rumor. It makes sense. There are plenty of cloud devices. Maybe they're having some trouble. I don't know for sure why it was pushed from 26 into 27. It's coming out in 2027. Fine. I think that this thing is going to be a mirrored version of the home console that goes underneath your TV, except it's going to be an open sourced box. One is going to be in a handheld form. One is going to be in console form that looks and acts like a console that you have now. It's just going to be an open source box. Again, that's just my speculation on it. Thank you so much for the generosity. We super appreciate you being here in the chat. We also have Do You K Now, the Broke Boy Insider. Welcome, Will. Thanks again for the additional, very generous $5 super chat. And it says, Silent Hill 2 should be coming to Xbox. The trailer said available to other platforms. There it is, October 2025. So, I mean, hopefully it's just not just PC. Hopefully that does actually release on Xbox. It would make sense. I'd buy it again. Like I said, I already bought it once. I'd be happy to, spend the $70, whatever it is, because again, Silent, that's one of my favorite in the series. It's really good. And that thing looks gorgeous. We also have 2 additional ones here. Actually 3. Robert Young has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership. That is very generous of you, Robert. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the generosity. Julia has been a channel member for 42 months, doesn't even say anything. So thank you so much for the support. We do greatly appreciate it. And Will the Insider drops an additional $5 super chat and says, since you can do PlayStation Remote and play and stream on Windows, does that mean Xbox branded tablet will be better than the PlayStation Portal? You can do more with it. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the tablets that me and Mrs. Boom have, they're the latest model. We don't upgrade every year, but every other year for the Samsung, and they are. You put something on there, it's smoking. So, yeah, not a bad idea. But listen, Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get to your points about this handheld, about Play Anywhere, and the Xbox podcast that just had the wizard, aka Jason Ronald, talk about the future of gaming. Like I said, I really do think that the strides Xbox is taking, look, they're going to put their games everywhere because they want to be and are currently the biggest publisher in the world, right? They want to make the most money. We understand why they did what they did. But we also got to say that with all of these new strides, with all of these new things that a lot of people felt uncomfortable about, some people still feel uncomfortable about, they are making sure that the current customers, don't lose anything, but we continue to win. When you become an Xbox customer, folks, and this is not console warring, you are being treated like royalty. You are being given these unbelievable experiences in gaming for a low monthly price of $20 a month. Now, could that go up? Sure. But the fact that you might be able to, at some point, literally buy a game anywhere on any platform and play it on any device is an insane reality that could become something that happens by 2027. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, I just want to start off by saying this week I was pretty much I went dark on social media for the most part, just playing a lot of games, running around, doing stuff with the wife, and getting ready for this weekend and stuff. But this is an amazing, breaking news thing that happened during this week. It's something I've been kind of looking forward to for a while. Didn't expect to really hear much like this until GDC, because what Jason Ronald said at CES earlier in the year, I expected that the software would at least make an appearance, and maybe we get to see the device that will eventually be on. But I was hoping also that maybe some console, like the next generation console stuff, would leak as well, although it did. But it's a little bit different than what I hoped. I was hoping more so for the 2026. If it's 2027, that's fine as well. But I think with this handheld being like a partner device, that it's going to be more Xbox focused than the typical ROG Ally that's out there now. I think this is a good, I wouldn't say half step measure, but it's along those lines. And here's where it's important for the console, player or the console only player. Like if you're a console and PC player already, you probably already have a device that'll be equally as capable. It's just that it won't have the actual Xbox button on it. And then there will probably be a software available update down the road that will allow you to turn either your Steam Deck, your ROG Ally, Legion Go, any of those PC handhelds into something similar to this device. But for the console player, if you've ever thought of getting into the PC space, just a little bit, even if it's for like some of the smaller games that come to Steam that never come to console, or if it was just a matter of seeing what the future holds as far as the way gaming is going to go with being all digital, all over the place kind of stuff, I would say this is probably the best device to think or could at least consider purchasing. And the reason being is not only is it going to be like a handheld Xbox, although the console native game being on there is still kind of a question mark. I do think at some point they will be able to get a good bit of those titles on there, but I don't think that'll be at launch. But there will be a decent amount at launch. Like more than likely some Sega titles will be there. More than likely some Ubisoft titles will be there, and pretty much all of their first party will more than likely be there without any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, there is a little caveat where not all of their first party stuff is play anywhere, or not necessarily play anywhere, but cross progression, let's say. Because I've run into this with things like Fallout, even though, yes, they're a recent purchase with them purchasing Bethesda. Some of the older titles that launched before that purchase, you're going to have like the different saves between them. Now you can kind of merge some of those saves to some extent, but that takes a little bit of know-how behind the scenes as far as on the PC end of things. But with getting this device, I'm going to recommend you get a hub of some sort. Hopefully they'll offer their own, but get a hub. If you already have a PC monitor, get a decent one. You could start as low as one that's a 1080p, or you could go up to a 4K one. I would say a 4K one might be overkill at that point because the box itself will probably not be able to push it to native. So a 1080p or 1440 monitor, a hub. They start at like $20, honestly, on Amazon, but a good one is probably going to be 40, maybe upwards of 60 at the top end of things. Get yourself a decent keyboard and mouse, and this will be your portable console and your starter PC. Probably for under $700 altogether. Well, the monitor obviously is going to be some money, but the keyboard, mouse, and hub, you could probably get those in a package deal on Amazon for like under 60 anyway. So the reason why I say this is the way this device is going to work. You have those 1,000 titles that they announced with Play Anywhere. You're going to be able to play those on that device. Your progression will more than likely carry over amongst all those games. And if there is a particular console game that isn't Play Anywhere at the moment, it more than likely will, unless it's maybe Rockstar, but even Rockstar is getting on board with this Play Anywhere because a lot of their newer titles are like that. So if they go back into their back catalog, then we'll see how Take-Two handles that for the back catalog stuff. But all the new stuff is Play Anywhere. As of recent, like NBA 2K, I think WWE, the new one, is going to be that way as well. So this will be that device that you can play the games that you're already playing. You can take them on the road with you. You don't have to worry about your Xbox being on and console streaming. Although I have a gut feeling, at least in the interim, you will be able to do the console stream to this device if you want to for your console only games that are not available as a Play Anywhere title. So this device will more than likely be able to handle that pretty easily. This device will also be able to handle with some finagling, possibly a dual boot. Although I don't think they'll push or advertise that just yet. That's probably going to be something that they'll be working towards as the next device the next devices come out in 2027. But you'll be able to backload your Steam library if you should already have one, or you could possibly start growing a Steam library on the back end of things and possibly do a side load. Although I'm not going to put that as a definite, but that's more than likely something that will come. But the big thing is this being like your entry into the PC space. You can play a lot of those RTSs with that keyboard and mouse on this device hooked to your hub, and you could either connect that to your TV or a PC monitor, whichever works best for you. But I think this is that great starter device. Hopefully it stays in the 500 to 600 range. I know there are some ROG Ally X's that are in the 800 range. Hopefully this isn't quite that, but if it is, hopefully it's at least 1 terabyte, as well as the Z1 Extreme chip that's in it at that point. But all things aside, if this thing winds up being like 600 or less, this is the device to grab to at least get you that intern between console games, PC games, and what the future holds. And considering how, a lot of games are still playable on the Steam, even though the Steam Deck is like, 4 years old? It feels like it's 4 years old. It's probably only 2 or 3 years old at this point, but
it does feel like it was a long time ago for sure.
Yeah, with that device, a lot of the games that come to Steam and even the games that come to console will still be playable on that device. So that should be the same case or similar case for this as well. Keep in mind, it's probably going to be at a lower resolution than what you would expect the console hooked to your TV, like your Series X if you already have one. But this will also be a good up or step up to some extent for those that are on Xbox One, or maybe you're on a PS4 still. You haven't upgraded to next generation. I think this is the device to actually pick up at this point in time, because it'll be able to play those next gen titles without having to do the console streaming like you're likely having to do for some of the newer titles, like your Avowed, like your Doom, Dark Ages, like South of Midnight, which I think the only way to play them on Xbox One at this point is to do that cloud stream. This won't have to do that. They will be able to have the native app on that device. So this is going to be the best of both worlds leading up to 2027. And this device will more than likely, if you pick it up now, will more than likely carry you into 2029 or 2030 type of deal, as far as still being a viable device to still play games on the go within the Xbox ecosystem. So it's great to see that this device is finally making its way. I've been asking for a device like this to kind of replace my Steam Deck. For me personally, this isn't the one to replace my Steam Deck, because it's going to be maybe a couple of steps above the Steam Deck, but not quite where I would hope, like what a Steam Deck 2 will be, what a ROG Ally X2 will be. But then again, when those do come out probably next year, they're going to start at 700 to 800, which that's fine. But I would rather save that for when the Xbox One that's on that same level comes out. And that would be the one that will more than likely replace my Steam Deck, because a lot of the stuff that I'm saying that you'll be able to do on this device, I can do on my Steam Deck. So it's not, I mean, other than spending the 500 or 600, it's not going to change anything really from what I can do with my Steam Deck, because I can side load the Windows Store stuff or do the dual boot setup to play those games on that device. Right now, I use it as a streaming device for the Game Pass stuff and my Steam games. But then again, I also use my Quest 3 for my streaming stuff as well, as far as anything that's on Game Pass as well. But this device, I highly recommend it. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's in the 6 or below range. If it winds up being the 7 or 8, it hopefully, fingers crossed, it's the Z1 Extreme. Just remember that chipset, and that it's over a terabyte as far as the drive space, to make it an easier transition for those that don't necessarily have the 2 terabyte one already, or consoles already, or anything along those lines. So this is the future moving forward, just a earlier peek at what it's going to be like. And I think this will change how people look at certain games. Like, the thing I love the most about when the Steam Deck came out was playing games like Hades, playing games like Vampire Survivor, or even now like Balatro, or even some of the other games like Forza plays great on that. So this is the thing where you can, you take your car in for the oil change and you're sitting in a waiting area. If you do that, you can play that there. You can play games while you're waiting in line at the grocery store. Sometimes, depending on when you go to the grocery store, if you wait until the weekend, you might have a heck of a line to wait, because they only have the self-checkout. They don't seem to have regular checkout people there. So if you're in line for a while, hey, you can play while you're leaning against your cart, moving up every couple of minutes or so, and get some gaming time in. But yeah, this is a device that I highly encourage the console-only crowd that may have been looking at PC. This will be the good first step, or the good testing of the waters, let's say, and you will have something that's PC capable for a lot less than some of the pre-builts out there, or some of the beast machines that some of you may want to build. But you're not sure about wanting to drop all that money and how it's like or what it would be like to do so, try this out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the performance and as well as the accessibility or even the enjoyment of being able to take your games on the go or sit in a different room than where you have your TV and still have full capability of playing a game natively on that device. So that's just my 2 cents.
No, it's a great point all around. Listen, handheld gaming has become a big thing. It has become a very normal thing now. Before, obviously when the Steam Deck first came out, again, look, if you go all the way back to the Game Boy, we remember buying that. $119 got you that in Tetris. It was an amazing experience. It was great. Obviously, there's been multiple PSPs. There was a Vita, right? Those were awesome. Obviously the Switch is what it is. These new gaming handhelds are just amazing pieces of tech. Yes, are they expensive? Sure, they're expensive, as they should be. Hopefully, this device, this Asus Xbox device that will be potentially shown off next week at some point, because it makes sense at GDC, we get a chance to see what this thing actually looks like, will be fairly priced and will give us an experience that somehow or is close to mimicking what you get on your home console. Because I think Paris is right. Like, he plays on the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck is great. I had one. I sold it privately. I have the ROG Ally. ROG Ally is great, and the Armory Crate is great. You put your stuff in there, you play your games, but it's very PC centric. Not so much what I'm looking for. I hope that this device is, even though it may be, not perfect, at least a stepping stone to exactly what Paris said. You press a button, you go, you play your games, you got a dashboard, and that's it. That's what we're hoping for. And again, the industry is rapidly changing. Microsoft is at the forefront of this. They're not just at that with their putting games everywhere. That is a small piece of the ginormous puzzle here. Yes, it's something that we're not used to. Sure, it's going to make a lot of people feel uncomfortable about exclusives, but they don't care. They're trying to make money. Do I care they're trying to make money? Not really. But like I've said before, and I will continue to say again, they are moving the industry forward, and they're not taking anything away from me as a consumer. They're consistently adding more and more and more to what makes me an Xbox fan, what makes me an Xbox customer. But look, we're going to get on out of here, folks. It's Friday. We're coming in on the 90-minute mark, of course. Again, we did have an idea to have another topic. I'm going to move that topic to Monday. It's fine. We do have some breaking news that just popped in here concerning some additional information regarding Ubisoft. And according to Mike Straw of InsiderGaming.com, Ubisoft is seeking investors for a, quote, new entity. Reports are being claimed. Now, this is a follow-up story to what happened on Wednesday, where Wednesday morning there was a minority shareholder for Ubisoft that made some pretty big claims regarding Microsoft and EA in the hunt to potentially acquire some of Ubisoft's legacy IP. He claimed that Ubisoft did not make that information public. They did not add that, have that information available for their shareholders. And of course, there was a story that was written by IGN. And again, we talked about it on Wednesday evening. If you want to read that report, you can. Shout out to Brett Bingham, who literally just DM'd me with this. I'm going to read the story. I'm going to wait for some additional context, and we will then tackle this on Monday, Fuzzy and I, and we'll see what happens. But I do think there's going to come a point where some of the IP, some of their legacy IPs are going to be sold off. I do hope that it's Splinter Cell. I do hope that Splinter Cell and the entire team making the remake or the reboot or whatever you want to call it of the original is purchased by Microsoft, and that's now becomes first party. Now, does it become first party exclusive? No, they're done with exclusives, folks. Day and date, I don't think so, but yeah, I'd like to see them acquire them. Personally, being selfish, and Fuzzy will of course, I can't wait to talk about this on Monday. I would be in the camp where I hope that they buy the entire Tom Clancy license, meaning Ghost Recon, The Division, Rainbow Six. Get them all at Microsoft. You got the money. You got to spend the money so you don't lose money. Buy Ubisoft its teams, not Ubisoft itself, but buy the Tom Clancy license from them and move all those games over to Xbox Game Studios. Buy those studios from them. And again, what the hell do I know? I'm just a knucklehead podcaster. But let's get everyone out of here. But before we do have an additional 2 super chats. And the first one is from Will the Broke Insider Boy Lewis. He drops an additional $2 super chat and says, FYI, the PlayStation Last of Us limited edition controller is up for pre-order today. And I listen. Of course, because, we're in New Rochelle. They're sirens. At least they're not coming breaking down my door. It's fine. I mean, that's awesome, Will. Thank you so much for that. I saw the controller. It's okay. My favorite controller is, I have 2 of them. One is the Astrobot one. Is dope. I love it. But the Spider-Man one is even better. I love both of them. I own both of them. The Last of Us is nice. I just wish they actually added a new game to go with it, or a factions to go with it. That'd have been nice. But yeah, it's fine. Thank you so much for the additional generosity, brother, and for the information, folks. If you didn't know, and maybe you are in the camp for a new controller, yes, the PlayStation Last of Us limited edition controller. I think it's $90 if I'm not mistaken. It's an okay looking controller. It looks okay. Not the greatest in my opinion, but if you're in for a new controller and you like The Last of Us, jump on board. Highlander 001. He took time from driving his tank around the neighborhood as he normally does. Highlander, welcome back, brother. Nice to see you here. He says, getting an oil change right now and playing Grand Theft Auto online and watching you on my cell phone. Welcome to the new gaming world. Sony is stuck in the past. Yeah, see, and again, there you go. I think Sony will be there at some point. I just think that they are many, many, many years behind Xbox. But Crispy Bomb, let's sell the brand, brother. Where could people, reach out to you on social media, potentially get the crispy truth, and more importantly, what else you got going on, brother?
Crispy Bomb on X, Crispy Bomb 28 on Xbox Live. Monday I'm off, Boom. So maybe at 3.
You'll be joining us, hopefully. That'd be great. There you go.
So
excellent.
That should be interesting because I was actually intrigued on that topic. So, but we'll get there on Monday. Come join us. And the fact is that I love everything we do here. We just speak our truth. We don't care. Yes, like Boom says all the time, I'm not completely agreeing with anything that Microsoft's doing, but the one thing that is the end all be all is Game Pass. And if Game Pass is integrated correctly into said device, you're going to get my purchase. So We'll see what happens.
It's going to be, listen, again, the future is super bright for Xbox. They have so many incredible first-party games. They're doing so many things with their hardware. They have OEMs coming back in a big way where you're going to get Xbox handhelds made by some of your favorite developers, some of your favorite hardware makers. Maybe they have one coming out from Alienware. Maybe Lenovo is going to release one. And maybe Lenovo is your favorite company. Well, there you go. And it's going to be right for you. But Korkenstein, let's sell the brand, brother. What do you got going on? Where can people reach out to you on social media? And what has been going on with the Xbox podcast that you are known for? And more importantly, Game Pass Gumbo. What you guys cooking up? Pun totally intended.
Yeah, man. Thank you as always. Crispy, good to have you here. Fuzzy as well every Friday. So love talking with you guys. Your community as well. Great conversation in the chat. Thanks to Paris Lily if he's still here for jumping in. Always a pleasure to hear that wise man speak. And yeah, with Game Pass Gumbo, I think we're looking at maybe Assassin's Creed. I'm currently working on a trailer for the channel for YouTube and stuff like that. We're just trying to get all of our schedules aligned, but maybe something for Assassin's Creed Shadow. I believe the next big drop is going to be South of Midnight.
Yes.
So maybe we might do, I mean, which kind of our whole, if you've noticed, our kind of art style and everything done by Gold Shell, my other co-host, is kind of like a Creole kind of, Southern kind of look with the French ironwork around, as our background and things like that. So probably South of Midnight, 100%. Maybe we might be able to squeeze something about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know I'm getting it. I don't know if they are. But yeah, so definitely be on the lookout. We'll be doing a South of Midnight kind of cool cooking thing. Just got to get that started and planned and in the works and prototyped. Xbox Talks is still, I think, yeah, we have something really cool coming up for Expedition 33. I can't really talk about it yet. But be on the lookout for that. It's pretty massive. I think we just got the okay today. So yeah, we should have something really cool coming up for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for right now. You can find me on all the social medias. Just look up Corkenstein. And yeah, you'll find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads.
Well, listen, shout out to you, brother, and of course what you do with the community. You're very, very welcoming, and we of course love having you to be a part of this show each and every Friday when you can be here. Last and no way least, let's get him out of here because, folks, he got to get to Jersey. He's got a horror con with the missus to get to. Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, sell the brand. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel, which is the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre, along with the missus who has a horror podcast, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. I don't know if you're going live from Jersey today, but that is called Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. Two channels that you need to subscribe to. Brother, where can they follow you both on social media, and more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channels?
Well, as always, greatly appreciate you having me on here. Sorry for running a little bit late, still getting everything packed up, but always a great time to be on here with you, Boom, as well as Crispy Bomb and Corkenstein. Love hearing you guys' takes. Thanks to Pyrus Lately for hopping in for a bit and giving his thoughts on the handheld. Always love talking this gaming industry news and just, about gaming in general. Shout out to the chat. Great interacting with everyone here. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Get a lot of gaming in and try your best to focus on gaming more so than social media. It was a good week to kind of unplug to some extent, although you kind of miss out on some of the news, but in all, got a lot of great gaming in, got to see some movies, which I recommend. Monkey is going to be the movie of topic for Fright Night with Ferocious Fee next Friday night. There will be no show tonight. We'll be on the road. At some point, we hope to have things up and going so we could do live streams at these, horror cons and things like that. But with Monster Mania, it's going to take us a little bit of time. We'll definitely do that in the near future here. But if you're interested in anything, any rambles and rants I have on gaming, you can just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere. You can find me on pretty much all social media except for Facebook. But if you're into horror, you can also look for me as well as my wife, Ferocious Fee, for the Fright Night with Ferocious Fee podcast. I'll put the link in the chat. Once again, no show tonight, but next Friday, the movie Monkey. I definitely recommend go seeing that in the theaters. Some jump scares and some laughs and some, some gore. So if you're into all of that stuff, definitely check it out. And then hop into our chat on next Friday. So that way you can, hear us talk about it and interact with you guys on your thoughts on the movie as well. But everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy gaming. Enjoy horror movies and games. I didn't even really get to talk about the whole Silent Hill stuff, which definitely looking forward to. But yeah, this is the best time to be a gamer or a fan of horror. Yeah, there's so much to enjoy. So have at it.
Well, great stuff from everybody. A big thank you to the panel for being here. A big, huge thank you to Paris Lilly for popping in as he always does. Love getting his hot take. And of course, a big thank you to you, listener, for checking out today's show and continuing to support Double Barrel Gaming the way you do through your shares, through your likes, through your your subs, and of course through the generosity of this incredible community that continues to drop super chats and channel membership chats, as well as gifting memberships to the people that are in the chat with you. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for your generosity. We want to wish everyone here a great weekend in gaming. Unfortunately, I wish I could game. I got to get the F out of here because I got stuff to do before I pick up Mrs. Boom. But we do want to wish everyone a great weekend. Thank you so much for checking us out. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Oh, you know something? Wait a second. We do have another super chat that popped in here from Will, the Broke Boy Insider Lewis. He says this. Several new Xbox console dynamic backgrounds released. 2 Sea of Thieves, a Split Fiction one, which I gotta play that game. That's so good, man. WWE 2025, Undertaker, which is dope, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. No one ever gives credit for them actually putting out these dynamic backgrounds that look really freaking dope, and they're free. You don't got to buy them. They just show up like this. So, Will, thank you for the additional generosity. Folks, let's get everyone out of here. Again, thank you for joining us. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully, one day, folks, it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.